This recorded workshop is all about college applications. We're going to start with the basics and we'll get into more complicated things like the Common Application and how to invite recommenders into the Common Application. Nowadays, all college applications can be found online. No such thing as paper applications anymore. And they're on the college's website. Usually the section of the website you're going to be looking for is admissions, which is written right here. The first thing you'll do right here is always create an account with a username and a password. I suggest saving these, creating some kind of a sheet that contains all of your college usernames and passwords for your applications, your FAFSA, the accounts that you create on college websites, all of those things. So once you create the account and start the application, you can go in and out as many times as you want. It's not like you have to sit down and complete it all in one fell swoop. So take your time, log in, check out the application, see what the questions are, and then spend your time making the application really good. Applications are typically pretty basic. They're going to ask for your name, address, social security number, name your high school activities, and maybe a little bit more. The social security number, please note, you do need to put this if you plan to apply for financial aid. That's how they link that with your financial aid application or your FAFSA. Pretty much everything in the application is really straightforward except for the activities. The activities is your opportunity to beef things up a little bit more and talk about all the things you do. So we're going to check out a few different colleges so you can find out where their applications are. We will start with Westfield State. So I usually Google Westfield State admissions. That's how I start most of my searches when I'm looking for the actual application. Okay, undergraduate. That's you guys. If you're just starting college, you'll be an undergraduate until you get your bachelor's degree. Apply right here. So this is where we're going to find the application. On this page, we can also find other things, other information about applying. We might check that out after. So freshman applicants, again, that's you, freshman applicants or first year applicants. So this will give us more details on the other pieces of the application. And again, they've got a link to the actual application. So if I click on that, there we go, create an account, like I said. Next one, I was going to check out UMass Amherst. Each admissions page looks a little bit different. It takes some time looking around on college websites to find where things are. They can be located in different places on different sites. But once you get used to them, you can kind of predict them. So we have the big green apply button here. Okay, applicant categories. And you are, again, a first year or a freshman. So we've got the requirements and the application checklist. If I was applying, I would check out both, but I'm going to check the checklist. So here they talk about all the things you need to do to apply. The actual application they list right here, which is the Common Application. Most colleges will have a link right here to the Common Application. I don't know why it's not linked here, but we will talk more about the Common Application. And then our next one, let's do Wheaton College. Wheaton College, MA, admissions. I put MA because there's also one in Illinois. Okay, getting started. First year students. Okay, they talked to us a little bit about what they need, and right here they tell us we're using the Common Application. So if you just clicked there, it'll bring you to the actual Common Application. But they have more information here about applying to Wheaton. They'll probably talk a little bit more about the kind of student they're looking for and what other kinds of things they want to see as part of your application. So we'll get to that afterward. And lastly, Holyoke Community College. There we go. There's our apply button. Again, it'll bring you right to the application. So what you saw here is that colleges are either using their own application, which is right on their website, that's where you fill it out, or they're using something called the Common Application. So when you go to these websites, you're going to see kind of like lists or paragraphs of things that they want you to include as part of your application. So there's the actual application itself, okay, which we just saw is on the college website. That's where you're filling in all those details, name, address, activities. And then there are the supporting documents, which, to be honest, make up the bulk of the application. I've got a list here of possible supporting documents. All of these or some of these may be required. Each college is a little bit different. So what you have to do is go to each website and make a checklist of what that college is requiring. And I suggest organizing it all into some type of table where you can see and compare the different colleges' requirements. So number one on the list is a transcript. Every single college will require this. This is something that you need to request from the school counseling department. It lists all of the classes you have taken since grade 9 and your grades in those classes. It also contains your grade point average. In virtual times, we are using the transcript request form, which can be found on the school's website or in the school counseling Google Classroom. If you're not in the Google Classroom, email me or any school counselor. We will invite you. In normal times, you could also walk down to your school counselor's office and ask for a transcript to be sent. One of the other most common things you're going to see are letters of recommendation. Some colleges require one, some require two, some welcome even more than two. Some would like them from 2 teachers and your school counselor, etc. Make a list. If you're using the Common Application, your teacher will just submit them electronically right through that application once you invite them. And if they do not use the Common App, your teacher will send them via email. But you have to provide them with the email addresses of the admissions office of the college so that they can send them. So communicate with your teachers about where to send letters of recommendation. You may come across an interview, which is required or recommended by some colleges. We'll talk more about that later. SAT and ACT scores. For the class of 2021, you guys are really lucky. Most colleges are not requiring them for any majors. We'll talk about that more later. An essay. An essay is usually embedded into the application. It's not usually something you send separately. However, some colleges that don't use the Common Application do not require this. And other things you might come across that we'll explain more later are maybe a portfolio, a graded writing sample, or an audition, depending on your major. All right, the activities. This is one of the only places in the application where you can really personalize it so that you don't come off as two-dimensional, just a piece of paper with names and grades and addresses. So you really want to make this section robust. Activities aren't just things that you do at school or as part of school. There are things that you do outside of school, such as helping at home, doing chores, watching siblings, watching older family members, going to church, volunteering at church, helping out at church, volunteering in the community, having a job. I didn't put that on my list. Traveling, different hobbies like playing music, maybe you're in a band, maybe you're not, sewing, writing. You really should include everything to give a full picture of who you are. It's more important to talk about the things that you do regularly or have been doing a long time rather than a one-day volunteer experience somewhere. So the Common Application, you will see this name coming up. You will hear this name. So it is one online application that many colleges will accept. The benefit is, if you're applying to a lot of colleges and they're using the Common App, you save yourself some time by just filling out this one application and sending it lots of places. I will say that this application is long and complicated. It asks more questions than most applications. So I only recommend using it if at least 2 of your colleges use the Common App. If it's only one, you're not going to save yourself any time. Some colleges don't give you a choice. They only use Common App, but there are colleges that will offer you the choice between the Common App or their own application. So we're going to take a look at this application. So here it is, and I actually already logged in over here. So when you log in, you'll see your dashboard. I'm going to show you a few different sections here. When you go to Common App, this is the bulk of the application, and these are the sections that go to every college that you apply to. So you've got a bunch of basic information about yourself, your family, who's in your family, their addresses, their education level, etc. Education is going to ask you about where you go to high school, the grades you've got in any college or dual enrollment classes you've taken, any awards. Testing will ask you about the SAT and other college testing. I normally, it asks you here if you'd like to self-report your scores right in the application. I normally put no, because if you end up not liking your scores, you don't want to be on the line now to send those scores because you decided to report them in Common App. I recommend simply sending the scores directly from the testing agency to the colleges if you have strong scores that will help your application. If you don't, I suggest not sending them if that is an option. In this year, for this year's seniors, the class of 2021, it is often an option to not send them. The activity section is where you can really flesh out all of your activities and then give an example of what might count for activities. So you would put, yes, you have activities, and you'd fill out this information. They don't give a lot of room to describe the activity, but many schools have an extra section where you can upload a resume, which I highly recommend so that you can further explain your activities. After you've added one, you have to click this to add another activity. And then you can arrange your activities with these arrows so that you can have the most important one up top. They like you to organize them right here. Please list your activities in order of importance to you. Writing is where you'll put your essay. If you've added a bunch of colleges to your Common App, they'll let you know right here which of those colleges are requiring that essay and which are not. I just would send it to everybody if you're writing it anyways. So they give all these prompts that you can choose from, and you write your essay in here. I recommend writing it on Google Drive and then copying and pasting in or linking right here because you want the option of spell check and revising. If you're applying to some colleges that are not on the Common Application, they will typically accept an essay written from these prompts. If they're asking you to respond to a different essay topic, I would simply call or write and say, hey, I wrote this really great essay that I'm really proud of that I'm using on some of my other applications. Would you accept that? And they'll usually say yes, because what they're hoping to get is your best writing and the best reflection of who you are. And then some colleges will require that you enter courses and grades for every year. College search is where you can add additional colleges. So let's say I want to apply to Middlebury. Very good college in Vermont. Oh, there it is. I just click this plus and it's going to add to my college list. Let's say I want one of the UMasses. What you'll find, oh, look at, they're coming up. Sometimes you do have to type out University of rather than the acronym, so just be aware of that. So I'll add UMass Dartmouth. Once you've added some colleges, well, actually, I do want to say if a college name isn't coming up here, it could be that they do not use the Common Application, in which case you should go to their website and check, or you're spelling it wrong. So once you have them all in there, you've got My Colleges, and you've got some tabs here. So in addition to this Common App piece that goes to every single college you're applying to, the colleges will have their own questions over here. These questions will only go to the college listed. So we're going to start with Middlebury. Now I'm going to show students how to add recommenders to the Common App. You go here, recommenders on FERPA. Oh, we have to complete the education section before doing that. I forgot about this. So I think we just have to put in our school. Holyoke High School, and I'll put, I think you guys entered in 2017, right? All right, let's see if I can add my recommenders now. All right, So we're going to complete the release. Scroll down. You should read this, of course. Check it off and continue. This is asking me to consent to you releasing my privacy rights so that schools can access this information and get a transcript and read letters of recommendation. So you can waive your right to look at the recommendations or not waive your right. I highly suggest waiving your right. It does not mean that your teacher can't show you their letter of recommendation. If they choose to do that, they can. But when you waive it, the college understands that you didn't influence that recommendation at all. So once you've completed that, you can invite your recommenders. So I'm going to invite a counselor. Invite Ms. Fenn. Make sure that you have their email address is correct. I've invited Ms. Fenn, and I can see when she uploads all my stuff. So once I invite Ms. Fenn, she's going to show up under recommenders on all my schools. That is only true of the school counselor. For the other colleges, we have to add them to each college, so we will show you that. So we will invite me. We'll do my school address. Okay, we'll say I'm an English teacher. Would you like the teacher to complete an evaluation for Middlebury? Yes. Okay, invite. And then you would invite more. So I'm in Middlebury right now, and I'm going to scroll down, and they already have the teacher included there. And I can click invite another teacher. And here it lets you know how many letters of recommendation that college will accept and how many they require. I go into every college, and I'm going to see that teacher was added. You'll often see this drop-down menu, and you have to choose the teacher and assign them. You have to assign the teacher to at least one college in order for them to get the invite. So I'm going into all my colleges, and I am assigning the person that I just invited. Oh, that doesn't want to let me. Yes. Okay. Okay. There we go. So I think that's everything I want to cover in the Common App. I've got a link here to some insider tips. I don't think we have time for that, but you guys can check that out later. Just some really important tips here. Proofread your own application before you ask somebody else to proofread it. It's so annoying to ask to proofread for somebody and have it be riddled with errors just to find out that they didn't give it their own proofread before handing it off to someone else. And after you proofread, then yes, ask somebody else to proofread. You want to catch all those lowercase i's and misspelled words and things like that. Complete your application ahead of time so that you have time to revise it. Make sure the activity section is complete. If something is optional, do it, such as interviews, extra questions, etc. They are looking for students who are showing that they want this. If they ask, why UMass or why Wheaton, make that answer awesome. They are truly looking for students who are a good fit for their college. And they're also looking at that as a writing sample. They want to know that you've actually done your research. Treat all writing as a writing sample. So any small questions, any essays, you want to show off your writing skills and have it proofread. Don't do this last minute and just throw together a few sentences just because it's not your main essay. Make sure your social security number is correct. If not, that can screw things up on the financial aid end. Make sure to have a transcript sent. Use the transcript request form on the website or in the Google Classroom. And lastly, don't be two-dimensional. Find ways in your application and out of your application to really show who you are. All of the rest of the slides contain information that give you some tips on letters of recommendation, interviews, which should be scheduled early, requesting a transcript, writing a college essay, SAT and ACT scores, and how to check which colleges are still requiring them. FairTest is the best website to do that. And then additional application materials that you may see requested. One of the most common ones is a writing sample. Some colleges want to see a graded writing sample, so it's good to start saving writing samples from English and history classes, as some competitive colleges will ask for these. Please know that any major in the fine arts or architecture will typically require a portfolio, and typically theater, dance, and music majors will require some type of an audition. And I will not go over this in the recorded version, but you can find information about the Mass College Application Celebration in the Google Classroom. So that's all we're going to cover in the recorded version of this, but these slides will be linked in the Google Classroom so that you can read them all in detail and follow the links. Thanks for listening.